Glovebox Live's Nick John interviews Chris Wood ahead of his gig at Cogs Manor Farm in Whitney.
Oh, the kids are in the back seat, tiny headphones in their ears, queuing in the fast lane for the man.
Welcome, Chris. Thank you very much for talking to us. I last saw you play live in a similarly rural setting in the Fleece Inn in Bretforton. There was a bit of an issue with campanology gone mad, the church bells. I don't know if you remember that last year.
I do, yeah. Yeah, I love church bells, so I don't mind. That's one of the few kind of extraneous noises that I kind of welcome. Church bells and bird song. Anything else can go hang.
I think it was 45 minutes of bells, though.
Beautiful.
Wasn't it?
It was gorgeous, yeah. No, it was lovely.
Now, you do... your last album, None the Wiser, was out in 2013, but I understand you've got a new album imminent or out now.
No, it's not out at the moment because I keep faffing around with the mixing and stuff, you know. But basically, yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of songs that... I think one of the reasons it's taken so long is because I'm not even sure if it is an album, to be honest. I mean, I had a collection of songs that, you know, needed to be recorded. And I sort of recorded them, and you know, and I was still sort of waiting for an album to turn up.
Right.
But it sort of didn't, you know. They were sort of recording. I was listening to them, mixing them, and you know, trying them different orders, and it just didn't seem to turn up. So, you know, there's some great songs on there. You know, some of the best stuff that I've written so far, you know, is on there, but. But as to whether it's an album or not, I'm not convinced.
I would say you're a remarkably perceptive lyricist. So, I mean, my sort of second guess would be that you perhaps don't want to say something until you've got something to say. Is that fair?
Well, I used to feel like that, but as I get older...
You're none the wiser.
Yeah, I used to sort of... Yeah, I mean, that's what I used to sort of say. It was a pithy... teaching line, you know, music's a language, so the only question is, what have you got to say, you know? But I think, you know, I mean, I had definitely had a tendency to be preachy because of that. You know, I remember one review for an album I did, and the reviewer, you know, they enjoyed the album, but they said it was like being led round a museum by a rather worthy curator. You know, and I have a tendency that way, so I find now
that's how you write. Then,
well, yeah, but you know,
people also want that from you, don't they? Surely,
but I suppose so. I mean, you know, the thing is, if I was just doing this for my ownness, that would be one thing. But you see, I've chosen to make this my living, so you know, you have to. I think it's essential to take the audience as you perceive them, even if they're not the actual people who are your audience. But you know, I think a lot of people have a kind of perceived audience in their head. Sometimes it's very close to who they actually get on the night, you know, and for other people it's completely different, their perceived audience and their actual audience. But you can't just pretend they're not there. You can't just, you know, well, this is what I think, this is what I want to do. You kind of can, but then
you must want to occasionally sort of shake it up, shake the bottle a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. The last thing I would want is to have some kind of formula. You know, I can't bear artists. I don't think I'm an artist. I don't like that word, artist. But I can't bear artists and that who kind of hit on a formula and. You know, they stick. Oh, this works. They like this. Let's keep doing this. You know.
In the olden days, I'd have been tempted to say that would be a record company prerogative.
Yeah, well, it's a very music.
Don't mess with what you've got.
It's
but
a very
nowadays,
music biz approach. Yeah. Why upset? You know, people like it. Do it.
I just had an hour with a financial advisor. He's a nice chap, but I'm none the wiser. Out here in our market towns with our pound shops and our bookies, the Argos catalogue is our tormentor. I saw a young lad in his...
Several of the songs on this album, they're not political at all, you know. They're love songs. In fact, everything I write, I feel everything I write is a love song.
Yeah.
But the whole point about love is that it doesn't gild the lily. It's the real thing. It's the last of our emotions. It's the one they haven't found a way of taxing yet.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that is us. You know, familial love, fraternal love. You know, patriarchal love. It's who we are. It's all we've got left. You know, and so. I mean, you know, I think of the Jean-Charles Jimenez song as a love song.
That's
absolutely,
Hollow
yeah,
Points,
it's a love song.
It's a brilliant song.
It's a song about somebody being executed by the police on, you know, on the nation's capital underground transport system, but it's still a love song. It was written out of nothing but love, you know.
I'm particularly taken as well with Spitfires. Which
Yeah,
is a lovely song.
another love song. Yeah. They're all love songs. I think they are. And if people want to kind of willfully, you know, dismiss them or some of them as political, then that's fine. I can't stop people doing that. That's fine. But I for the most part, I have no time for political song. Political song has a terrible tendency to be, you know, it's a bit, you know, which side are you on?
Yeah.
I once I was at a gig, in fact that's where I met Corinne Polwart, was at a gig organised by the BBC called Which Side Are You On? You know, big pictures of Ewan McCall everywhere and Woody Guthrie and you know, I met Corinne. We were hiding behind some bass bins, you know, as, you know, Donovan, Billy Bragg, you know, all this sort of this testosterone, and I sort of cowering behind this bass bin, and there was Corinne Polwart, you know, and she was hiding too, because it's just not. It's, you know, political song has to grow up. It's not like that anymore. Which side are you on? So much of our lives are just not binary. It's not binary. No.
Let's have the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, we cry. But the sound bit and demand is oh so hollow. We reach of us subscribers until the day we die. And truth like that is way too big to swallow. So
as well as contemporary song, obviously, that you write things, you also still do traditional song in your repertoire. Presumably the traditional song you still feel when you choose one or something, you feel it's got something of relevance to say to people today. Is that how you approach it, or do you just like the song and want to do a version of the song?
Well, it's a bit of both, really, isn't it? I mean, it's probably that it's got relevance for me today. It's why it will get sung. I don't do many traditional songs anymore. I mean, one reason I don't do many traditional songs is because they're nearly all better than mine. You know, often I'll come towards the end of a gig. I don't sing Lord Bateman very much, but sometimes I do, you know, and I sing it at the end.
You won an award for that.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you did. You won a folk song of the year 2000.
No, Lord Bateman is a traditional ballad. You're thinking of
your version
Fish and
of
Chip
it.
Shop. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I think you.
Well,
yeah,
if
we'll
I
check
did,
later. We'll Google later.
Yeah, I can't remember, to be honest. But I'll sing that, you know, and then we'll kind of finish the night. But I'm up there singing it, and as a songwriter, all the way through it, I'm thinking, you know, this song makes me feel like a one-legged man at an arse-kicking contest. You know, this song puts all my scribblings into perspective, and so sometimes, you know, that'll be the reason I'll sing a traditional song, to keep me on the straight and narrow, you know, to keep raising the bar, to try and, if I can write as well as a non, I'll be all right, you know. I think that's what I think, that's kind of my secret weapon. That, you see, if I was Morrissey or someone like that, you know, I wouldn't have that sort of touchstone. And maybe they do, I don't know. Maybe Morrissey would have someone else, Nat King Cole or I don't know, whoever. But for me, it's Anon. Anon is always there, and I'm always trying to write as well as Anon would like me to if he or she were here now, So
I spoke to Martin Carthy at a gig he did locally, and I asked him about this process because I didn't understand the process of when one takes a traditional song. I asked him how do you record? Why do you pick a certain song? How do you go about it? And he was saying it takes ages to do that. You work with Martin in the Imagined Village project, which takes traditional song, but obviously brings a lot of variances in from different cultures and things like that. How have you found that experience?
Well, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
To be honest. You see, I first met Martin when I was about 23. And he was working at the Royal Shakespeare Company. And he said, he phoned me up and said, I'm working at the Royal Shakespeare Company on a play. Do you want to come and be in the band? Mm. And that's sort of how I first met him, And that time that we spent was very sort of intimate and formative for me, because when the theatre was dark, Martin organised all his solo gigs to go on the nights that we weren't playing, and I would drive him to his solo gigs. You see, so it's like a kind of as close to an apprenticeship as you can get in this business, And I suppose in my life, that's when I felt closest to Martin, and it was just him and me, in the car, and he's banging out the rhythm of this song on the dashboard.
Must have been
teaching me a song,
Yeah.
Or he'd get to a point and he'd go, right, now, the guy who taught it to me does it like this, but I do it like this. So he changed it, but he knew exactly how he'd changed it. Most people go, oh no, you can change it if you want to, it's folk music, man, But not Carthy. You can change it if you want to, but you better bloody well know how it went in the first place.
And did those feet in ancient times walk up on England's mountains green?
What are your thoughts about the industry at the moment? The downloads, the digital world, etc. It's a new business model. Has it changed things a lot for you?
For me personally, it has, because it's my own record label. You see, so there I was probably thinking, oh, this will be my pension, when I can't go out on the road anymore. I still own all my records, thinking that I could sort of spend a bit more time sort of marketing those, and it's all just disappeared, isn't it? Completely disappeared. Well, it hasn't disappeared; it's been stolen, So there we go,
Yeah. So do you? But you'll always bring out physical product. You won't. You hear now people say, "Oh, I've done a single," and it turns out it's a download thing or something, isn't it? And it's in my book, it's not a single. But
I mean, the reason to bring stuff out is for people to hear. And I suppose so long as there are people interested, first of all, there have to be people interested in my music, and second of all, they have to be interested in some kind of artefact. Mm. And if they are interested in the artefact, then I'll make an artefact for them, be it an LP or a CD or whatever.
It's worrying that there won't be collections per se in the future, is it? Except for the mobile phone or something, and people won't be able to collect records or even CDs. Or books, maybe. It's a sort of worrying thought of the future as to what our grandchildren will actually own in terms of physical product.
Well, I don't know if it's worrying. If the kids aren't worried, then maybe we shouldn't be worried. But I just feel that there's nothing I can do. So I just sort of carry on doing what I do.
It might all turn around again. Vinyl's coming back. Vinyl is making a return of sorts.
Well, yeah. When people don't know what they've lost, then you've lost it. If people can't remember what they've lost, then you've lost it. But right now, we know what we're losing, so we haven't lost it yet.
And the live thing has come back, definitely. There's
Well, it has, but I mean, people say this, but I don't really understand it. I mean, for the most part, the British folk scene is basically run on the pensions of the people who come to the gigs. Most of the audience levels are, they're all pensioners, so they've got time, they've got expendable income. Great, they're keeping the scene alive. Now, when they die off, and they will die off, what then? I don't know. And it was, it sounds flippant, but it was also, in many cases, their student grants that started the whole folk revival.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So it's almost
so
a
what we
full
might,
circle,
what we might find is that this whole folk thing that we're always banging on about, we think is so cool and vibrant and fantastic, is actually only one generation long.
Yeah. That's quite sobering, isn't it? Really. And yeah. Well, hopefully they'll. The old and bold will be here tonight. I'm sure they will be. I'm sure your demographic will be proven. But thank you very much for talking to us, Chris. Have a great show tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And was the Holy Lamb of God.
That was a broadcast production by gloveboxlive.uk.